Hi guys, I want to show you really quickly the best way to apply the Flawless 4, which would be your concealer, your primer, your spray foundation, and then a setting powder or setting product. So I've already applied. We have two different primers now. We have the new hydrating primer, and then we have our regular Glorious Touch primer. And so I would say about a small pea-sized amount of this one for your full face, and even less of the hydrating one, maybe half that amount I feel for the hydrating one, because a little bit goes a long way with this. And then with both of these primers, once you apply it to your face, let it soak in for a little while. So let it sit for even 5 minutes. Sometimes I'll put it on, clean skin obviously, and then I'll go and get dressed, and then I come back and start the actual foundation routine, because you don't want it to be tacky. And what the primer does is it fills in pores, fine lines. It lets the makeup not soak into your skin, so it helps with the longevity of the makeup and getting a more flawless look. You can see I did Halloween makeup yesterday, and so I've got some redness and some blotchiness to my skin. So the next step for me is I apply my foundation. And my foundation of choice right now is our new spray foundation. I love the way that this looks. Does not settle into fine lines and wrinkles. But what I do recommend with that is our Kabuki brush. It's a flat, densely packed brush, and I think it gives you the best finish with this particular foundation. It can also be used for the liquid foundation, the stick foundation. It's a really versatile brush. It's a heavy duty brush. It's gonna last you a long time. So shake your foundation up really good. It's an aerosol. It has a metal ball on the inside. It's mineral based, and so the color, the pigment, and the minerals will settle. So each time you use it, make sure you shake it quite a few times. And then holding it pretty close to the brush, I spray where this little indentation is on the back. That's going to give you the straightest spray. So about an inch or so from the brush, I'm going to do 2 sprays. 1, 2. And then that's going to do probably about half my face. And what I'm going to do is kind of pat it off onto my skin. And it dries fast, so you want to work in smaller sections of your skin. You can spray it directly onto your skin, but I find that to be a little bit messy. And then I feel like I'm wasting some of the product because I'm not getting it placed where I want it to be placed. And so, like I said, I work with about half my face at a time because it is so lightweight. It doesn't feel like you're wearing anything. It's got macadamia nut oil, vitamin E. It has squalane in it, which is what is in our Uplift Beauty Serum. So it's going to be healthy and beneficial for your skin. I just find it's the perfect foundation for aging skin because it's so lightweight, it doesn't settle. And so that is just 2 squirts. Then I would do the other side, same thing. And you can already see, even without concealer, it really has covered quite a bit. There'll be a couple of areas that I might want to go back and spot check. It also looks a little white in this lighting on my skin, but it does, once it oxidizes and warms up to your skin, then it really is the right shade for my neck. And the shade that I'm using is called Cashmere. And then I'm going to do 2 more squirts to do the other side of my face. So you can see the difference in the sides. See how smooth that is? So again, I'm just going to blot it off on my skin. And then I just kind of start buffing it in circular motions. And because this Kabuki brush is so soft, you can use it up underneath and around your eyes. And then it also is good at getting it around your nose. And so I do little circular motions to get it blended in. And then when I go back to spot treat, then I kind of use a stippling motion where I'm going to stipple it into my skin. But this is the best way I feel. And I would start small on the applications. Less is more. If you use too much and you're not blending it properly, it can settle into the fine lines and wrinkles. So I feel like it's best to do a thin layer and then go back and stipple it in the areas that you want to cover a little bit more. So I just use a little half a spray for that. And then I go back in, and by stippling, I mean just pushing it into my skin. And then kind of buff around it. I'm pushing more than spreading at this point, if that makes sense. But that's the best way to get a little bit heavier coverage, but not make it look like it's really heavy on your skin. And always blend down your neck as well. And then you can just keep doing that. But I think a lighter first layer is better. And then always, for women of my age, if you have more oily skin, because this foundation is good for all skin types, you're gonna wanna set the makeup to give it the longest last and to prevent it from going into any of your lines and wrinkles. But then I will add just a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes because I have that hollowed out area, so I do get that darkness underneath. So I'm using a concealer that's a couple of shades lighter than my foundation. And with this concealer, you just need a small amount, like the size of maybe a grain of rice. And then I lately have been using our cream foundation brush because it's stiffer and I feel like it gets a better application. So I let that warm up to my skin temperature a little bit, and then I just kind of pat it onto my brush, and I'm gonna do kind of an upside down triangle. You never wanna just sweep the concealer underneath your eye because it's not gonna hide what you wanna hide. So you wanna kind of do it where you're highlighting underneath your eye and that whole upper cheek area. And that's gonna hide that darkness better because a lot of times it's a shadow that you're seeing, so you need to go below where the darkness is. And so same thing on this side. So I just kind of brush it in an upside down triangle, add a little bit underneath my eye, and then I'm just blending it in, patting it in with this little brush. And then what I'm gonna do, I even go here in the corner because I'll get some darkness there. Go into the corner a little bit, and that's how I do my concealer. Some people will go down the bridge of their nose, they'll highlight here if they have a concealer that is a highlighting concealer. And then if you wanna cover extra coverage, which I don't find I need with the spray foundation, but if you wanna cover on your actual face, you're gonna wanna go with a shade closest to the spray foundation that you chose to cover on your face. But to highlight, the rule of thumb is normally to go a shade or two lighter than what your actual foundation is. And then I just set it all. So I'll set this and then I can go about the rest of my makeup. So I use our Behold setting powder and I use our foundation concealer brush because it's got a smaller end and then a larger end. And the thing that I love about this, it's translucent. First of all, it's very lightweight, very finely milled. It has a little sponge in the center, and then the cap has a little stopper. So I can toss this in my purse and it doesn't all come spilling out in the lid because it has a little stopper there. And then it also is perfect just to put your brush into. So I tap my brush into the center. I always tap off excess. And then with my setting powder, I pat it on like this. So I'm not taking my foundation off, but I'm setting it in place. And when I first put my concealer on, I usually look up and I'll pat like this just to get it into the lines underneath my eyes. And then I set it. And I set it heavier to begin with. So I'll give it a good dusting, again, kind of looking up to set the concealer. And then when I'm finished with the rest of my makeup, I'll brush off that excess concealer. But I go ahead and set, especially under my eyes. It's not super necessary that you set your entire face right now because you're gonna go in and do your other products. You're gonna do your blush, your eyeshadow, and then you can go in and set it fully when you're finished with all your makeup because the setting powder will go over eyeshadow and everything to keep it in the right location. But I love this little brush because it'll set and do the powder right up and underneath your eyes and around your nose and stuff. So anyway, that's how I get it to where it does not crease on me at all during the day. I apologize, this light seems like it's blowing out the color just a little bit. I'll post a picture at the end just to show you, but I go in now and I do my bronzer and I do my eyes, my brows, all of that, but I have my makeup on and that will last all day. I do throw the setting powder in my purse, so if I need a little touch up throughout the day, I've got that in there and I can just blot it on where I need it, mostly in the T-zone for me. But just make sure that you take the foundation down your neck and that you're doing lighter layers with it. Okay, hope that's helpful. Thanks, bye.